Hello, third graders. Miss Kopak here. In this video, we are going to be doing some measuring practice together. Now, if you have not watched the previous measuring videos, there was a video about measuring inches and half inches, and then there was a second video about measuring quarter inches. If you have not seen those videos, stop this video and watch those first. You can find those videos, links to those videos in this lesson. They're also in the day 1 and day 2 lessons in Seesaw for Math. So make sure to watch those videos before you watch this one. Otherwise, this might not make sense to you. So we already know how to measure to the nearest half inch and quarter inch. Remember, there are two types of measurement systems. In the United States, we use the customary system. So this is smallest to largest. For smaller items, we use inches. And then feet, yards, and miles for the longest items. But in science, and especially in other countries, instead of using these units, they use the metric system units. So they use centimeters for smaller things, then meters and kilometers for the longer items. So today we are going to practice using these two units, inches and centimeters. Now, if you have a ruler at home, you might notice that most rulers have two sides to them. There is an inch side and then there's a centimeter side. So it's always important to check your ruler because you want to measure with the correct side. So if you want to use inches, you want to use the inch side. If you need centimeters, use the centimeter side. And that's important because inches and centimeters are not the same. Even though we use them to measure smaller things, they are not the same. For example, on this ruler is 12 inches long. So you might think, well, 12 inches, 12 centimeters. No, 12 centimeters is a lot smaller than 12 inches. So this ruler is 12 inches long and a little over 30 centimeters long. So centimeters are smaller than inches. So let's look at some examples that I did around my house using my ruler. So I measured a paper clip. And so I lined up my ruler and I see my paper clip goes past the 1, but it doesn't go all the way to the 2. So I'm in the 1 inch area. And remember, the middle is the half mark. Well, this is past a half. And remember, if we split this half in half, we get the quarter mark. So, and this half, this is the other quarter mark. So we have 1, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So this paper clip was 1 3/4 inches. And I always want to put the label so that you know which unit I used. Now I'm going to flip my ruler around and I'm going to measure the same paper clip but in centimeters. So I see it goes past the 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not all the way to the 5, so we're in the 4. And it's pretty close here to the middle, so I'm going to say that's 4.5 centimeters. And we abbreviate centimeters with a cm period. So that paper clip is 1 3/4 inches. It's also 4.5 centimeters. Let's look at a Sharpie. So I'm going to do inches first, and I see it goes past the 5. So we're in the 5-inch territory here. Here's the 6, and right in the middle is the half. It's not quite at the half, so let's break our half in half. And it looks pretty close to this quarter mark. So remember, 5, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. This is the 1/4 mark. 5 1/4 inches. IN with a period. Now let's try centimeters. I'm going to flip the ruler over and let's look at the centimeter side. So it goes all the way past the 13, but not quite to the 14. It's pretty close to that middle mark. So let's say it is 13.5 centimeters. I want the right unit. Not inches, this is centimeters. It's hard to write on this computer. All right. Let's try my pack of Lifesaver candy. So, what do you think about the inches? About how many inches? Here, remember, right in the middle is the half. And if we split our halves in half, we get the quarter marks. So I would say we're in the 3-inch area. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. 3 3/4 inches. And now let's try centimeters. About how many centimeters do you think this is? It looks like it's right on the 9 line, so we're going to say this is 9 centimeters. All right, let's try a cracker. About how many inches long is this cracker? I would say this cracker is about 1 inch long. It goes a little bit past the 1, but remember, here's the half. And if we split our half in half, it's not quite to the 1/4 line. So I'm going to say this is closer to 1 inch. And how about centimeters? If you said 3 centimeters, you are correct. Let's try a spoon. About how many inches long is the spoon? It's a little hard to tell because there's a shadow here, so I'm going to mark the edge for you. This is where the spoon ends. So this spoon, I would say, well, let's see our half mark. Here's the half mark for 5 1/2. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then here's our 6. So it's not quite to the 6. So let's go with the 3/4. 5 3/4 inches. And now let's try centimeters. About how many inches long is it? And again, here's the edge of the spoon. I'd say that's pretty close to 15. 15 centimeters. All right, let's try one more item. Let's try a pencil. About how many inches long is this pencil? Well, let's find our half mark. So here is our half. And if we split our half in our half, we get the quarter marks. So this looks like it's about 7 1/4 inches. And now let's try centimeters. This one goes past the 18, but not all the way to the 19. Right here's the middle. So I'd say that's pretty close to a half. So 18 1/2 centimeters. So now it is your turn to practice measuring some items with inches and centimeters. So if you have a ruler at home that has inches and centimeters on that, you will want to find it and use it. If you don't, I have a link in this seesaw lesson that you can print out a ruler. You just need to make sure to cut it very carefully so that you can get accurate measurements. Take care, polar bears.